This is Joe Biden's Hurricane Katrina moment. He has a moment today. We're going to share this clip of him saying no comment during this disaster. And can you imagine if there was a disaster like this under Donald Trump administration and he didn't even have the courtesy to say a comment and condolence to the dead? He didn't even say that. He just said no comment. Not worth my time. Now, White House, and this is from Washington Post, White House defends Biden's action after criticism over Maui response. And I hope I'm saying that correctly. Because you had on the ground citizen journalists. I'm gonna show you guys this viral clip that's been all over Twitter. We have on the ground citizen journalists that expose how the corporate media have been undercounting the amount of people who have died, and they're not getting the aid that they need. So you have Maui residents that say we need money in people's hands amid the wildfire. Now I'm gonna show you guys. Let me pull this video up because there's a here you go. Let me pull this one. I should have had this one up earlier. Here it is. This is what I believe because I have this tweet. I'm gonna show you guys this video later where Biden says no comment. I have a tweet that went pretty viral while I was reporting on this, and the amount of liberal bots and blue checks that are gaslighting and lying about this event in order to cover for the corrupt Biden administration is disgusting. The culture of the Democratic Party is disgusting because people are lying to cover for our government's inaction on this. So let's listen to her, and she's gonna explain. We are not gonna watch the whole thing. The first few minute or so is powerful. So let's check this out first.
If you don't know what's going on in Maui, we're just being completely devastated right now. The last 4 days, I've been non-stop, just working around the clock, trying to get supplies for people, trying to get the supplies to the people, working at the shelters. It's just, I'm safe and my family is safe and my dogs are safe. Last night they said the death toll is 80. It's not correct. They're not reporting it correctly. I don't know why they're not reporting it correctly. There's hundreds, at least 600, if not thousands of people who are dead in the streets, floating in the ocean. There's over 3,000 homes that have been burned to the ground. There's no help here on the ground. All it is residents pulling together. My whole entire truck is full of supplies right now. Just residents going to the store, going to Walmart, going to Costco, buying as much as they can.
And listen to what she says there. There's ordinary neighbors that are pulling together, and every single on the ground reporting I have seen through people sharing their social media and reports like this have been saying people have been coming together and helping our neighbors out. Like we know that people had the potential to do. That's why we advocate for the politics we have. But they're doing this in lieu of government assistance and government help. And that is what she is saying on the ground. Meanwhile, the corporate media and liberals right now are spinning this fairy tale where Biden has this amazing response in Maui. And apparently their biggest mistake is not naming this city Ukraine, Hawaii, because if they did, they will get billions of dollars overnight. Anyway, let's continue. We're not gonna watch the whole video. We may play another minute because I think you guys get the gist of this. Because I have a few more quick receipts I want to show you guys regarding this.
Driving it straight into Lahaina. I went there last night and there was a fire that started and we got so scared we weren't able to drop off all the supplies. But there was flames that we saw and we were like, we just have to get out of here. It's so awful. The people who were able to evacuate Lahaina and get out, they're at the shelters, and the shelters are just a mess right now. They're so disorganized. We don't have anyone from any organizations helping. I think Red Cross is here, but it's just so unorganized. No one knows what we need. It's awful. And the people that are still in Lahaina that were not able to evacuate, they don't have gas in their cars. They can't leave. Some people are just holed up in their houses waiting for someone to come knock on their door and give them supplies. They don't even know supplies are being distributed at the docks in Lahaina. And it's getting so bad in Lahaina. I never thought this was going to happen, but there's people going into other people's homes trying to steal their stuff, I heard that the people are being held at gunpoint over there. I'm doing everything.
Meanwhile, I'm waiting for the Biden administration. Oh, what the heck? Anyway, I want to show this. I don't know what the hell that's coming from. Oh, there you go. This video play. Anyway, I want to share this. I wanted to share this tab here. Sorry, I had a fucking glitch. But this is what Max Blumenthal posted. This is a great point where he said George Bush was properly roasted by the national media over passing over New Orleans during Hurricane Katrina. Now you had East Palestine, and now you have, as this lady in the video explained, Native Hawaiians organized aid for Maui victims as government lags. And meanwhile, you still have progressives who support this guy, who's lagging in support of helping the civilians of Hawaii. Meanwhile, you had $226 billion to go into Ukraine. You gotta know the Biden administration, they have this aid package where they said they're gonna give people $700, just $700, and they praise them. They're like, "Yeah, we're gonna put money in their pockets. We're gonna give them $700." We should be helping these people thrive, fam. We should be taking care of them. They can give them $700. We were paying the entire payroll of the Ukrainian government. Hundreds of billions of dollars going to Ukraine, but we pay $700.
Well, actually, there's something I do want to chime in here, and something that's kind of been really I find it to be an example of coincidence or so much more. But there's like 8 rich people, 2 of which Oprah Winfrey and Jeff Bezos, whose properties are surprisingly nice, safe, and unburnt. And that's something that I do want to point out, because since they're
in that town,
there's a lot of weird shit going on in the story.
There is. Like, somehow it's a miracle upon miracles. Now, look, I don't want to speculate because that's not fair to the audience. But hey, Jeff, Oprah, and all the other rich people that manage to have their properties nice, safe, and protected. Can you think about maybe, I don't know, maybe sheltering some people, helping them out? You can't take care of all of them. I know you can't, but you guys still have a roof over your head. I mean, that's just something that should be just thrown out there. Just throwing it out there.
Now, this point, Kid, to your point, Kid, and I wanted to squeeze this in. I think it's a good time to do this, and I'm gonna show you guys Joe Biden's recent comment, where you have residents that worry that rebuild homes in Maui town could slip into the hands of affluent outsiders seeking a tropical haven rather than homegrown residents who give the Hawaiian island its spirit and identity. And there are already people who live there that are afraid that they're essentially about to be replaced by giant capital. Now, this is something that we got to be vigilant on and call out. This is where disaster capitalism thrives. Yep. They are looking to come in and misplace these people, and this is something that they are 100% worried about, as you was alluding to, Kid. But I'm gonna show you guys the big video. This is what everything was alluding to. As you have Joe Biden, who just authorized another $24 billion to Ukraine. Just as he does that, they do a pathetic relief package compared to what they gave in Ukraine. They got 2 times more money in the recent package to go in Ukraine compared to the aid that's going to Maui. So Joe Biden has billions to give to Nazis in Ukraine. There's some program I watched and they was like, yeah, Joe Biden is going to give $10 billion. I'm like, compared to how much they gave to Ukraine, fam? And that is the argument that everyone is making. So Joe Biden has billions to give to Nazis in Ukraine, but meanwhile, this is what he had to say about Maui.
Any comments on the rising death toll in Maui?
Look at that shit-eating grin. Yeah, I know people die. Can you imagine the media response? And I want
if that were
Trump, you know how horrific Trump derangement syndrome is, right? Can you imagine the media response that Trump was laughing and saying no comment when asked about the victims of a tragedy?
This is just horrible.
Actually, Trump did do a response, and it was far more coherent and more humane than Biden's no comment.
Oh yeah, no, Trump would never say no comment and get in the car. He'd always say it's terrible what's going on there. We'll get on it, and then he'll get in the car.
And they throw some paper towels at him.
Now this clip here Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. My bad.
The way that we're responding to all of these disasters, I think a lot of people thought that Biden is going to come in and, you know, at least there'll be technocrats. At least things will be done competently. This is what happens when you have a collapsing empire. It can't handle its shit. It doesn't really matter who happens to be at the head of the empire. The whole system is becoming sclerotic and incapable of dealing with these kinds of events. And I think if you look at how it's handled, particularly at the outer edges of the empire, it's very much like Rome, right? The outer perimeters of the empire collapse first. Because I'm sitting here in New York, which I would say, along with DC, are probably the beating heart of the empire. And they pretty much keep things running here because this will be last. Out there is going first. And that's what you're seeing. Hawaii's way out there. They don't have things coordinated properly to deal with something like this there.
Even Biden didn't show up to East Palestine, Ohio, and that's on the mainland. He's not going to show up there. He's not going to show up anywhere because, again, he wouldn't even know what to say in the first place because the handlers know he'll probably stutter or screw it up. But, I mean, again, no attempt by anyone in the administration. Even Kamala, you would think, of all people, if not Biden, then the vice president herself should go or make some kind of statement. But, again, all what you could do is cackle and laugh.
I mean, what they need there is they need evacuation. It's not safe to be on a burning island. There's no escape from a burning island except getting off the island, right? I mean, there's literally, I mean, it sounds simplistic, but they're out of room. People would take shelter from the fire in the water because there is nowhere to go. It's a relatively small island and it's all burning. So they need to get people off of it. Like, it takes a coordinated response from the wealthiest government on earth to get people the fuck off. That's what they have to do.
Well, regarding what you were saying about the death toll, they were saying there's still over 1,000 people missing.
Oh, yeah, of course. Well, yeah, no, it's gonna be a nightmare.
A horrific toll.
Yeah.
It's a tragedy. So as they are giving people in Maui only $700, and government aid lags, so people had to rely on community organizing. The sales of luxury cars in Ukraine breaks records, though. Isn't that great? Isn't that great? Isn't our priorities amazing?
Holy!
And now this is the state of Ukraine.
I mean, that backs up what Cy Hirsch said, man. Cy Hirsch said these generals are driving around in luxury cars from all the money they're stealing from what we're sending there.
How many special interests or advisor groups are there from the U.S. and NATO that are there probably partying up there too? Maybe not seen on camera, but perhaps maybe in the VIP rooms, just taking some of that book of sugar. You know, never know.
Those NATO advisors have great sex game.
Yeah, and we really not gonna understand the extent.
Little Nazi exploitation, amateur films being shot over there.
Especially because scumbags like Bernie Sanders and the entire Democratic Party voted against Ukraine oversight. It's going to be years and years before we truly understand the depth of corruption that went on in Ukraine. Yeah. It's always after the fact.
Yeah, you probably never will, because it's probably going to end very badly for them, and it's all going to go up in smoke anyway. There'll probably be like no accounting for it.
Now, I'm going to have ongoing coverage of this because there's a lot of interesting things that happened during this fire. Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, there's a defiant thing now. We're just going to bring up some coincidences. Okay? I'm not saying anything. I'll just bring up coincidences, okay? Hawaii, who has this amazing alert system that was praised worldwide as one of the best alert security systems ever, none of it went off. None of the alarms went off. And also, if you look at all the people who had investment capital, like the majority of the victims were residential, and you look at the people who residential was not harmed, isn't it coincidence? Once again, we talk about coincidences here, that none of these people lost any property. Who these are the people who are using their capital to colonize Hawaii. This is something that indigenous Hawaiians have been speaking about for decades now.
My question is there property in that part of Hawaii? Like,
yes. Yes. Like and
Really?
even though like 85, I believe as it stands right now, unless there's been any update, 85% of the
Look at
fire
this.
has been coordinated or quarantined so far. But I mean, again, they were in the front areas, and their communities, their little mansions are nice, safe, and unburnt.
So this is Oprah here, who has 2,000 acres of land, all Maui, but unscathed. Unscathed. Yeah, coincidence. Coincidence. Man, crazy things happen, right? Let's just say that. Let's just say that. 2,000 acres of land untouched. So she lived there part time. This is part of this new cultural capitalist imperialism where they're changing the culture of Hawaii. There's a video I need to find it where this lady was complaining on the two Hawaiis. There are two Hawaiis right now. There's a Hawaii that they live in, where most people are ignoring, they're not getting the aid they need, that has been exploited. Then there are the Hawaii that the tourists live in, that the mainland capitalists live in to escape the mainland and to avoid taxes as well. I'm really mad if save this clip, but I might have to find this for later. This clip which is later we talk about it. So this is Oprah response, and she claimed that she's gonna have a hefty donation. Now I want to ask you guys these questions. I'm just asking questions here. As someone who have a completely different political ideology than most people, do we need or do we want to rely on the charity of these capitalists who surely
No.
doing this out of the kindness of their heart instead of having an active community response from a government who definitely can afford it?
No.
I don't want Oprah's greasy paws anywhere near this because this is where capitalism, this is a phase of capitalism that is extremely predictable. You see it every time. It's disaster capitalism. That's about to
Well,
come
it's
into
what
play.
they did to what you were talking about before. Their fears that their homes are going to be, built and taken over by outsiders. It's what happened in New Orleans.
Yeah.
You go there now, and the natives say the heart is just gone from it. The heart's been ripped out of the place because they just. If you ever saw the show Treme, it really gets into that. How after Katrina, they shut down all the projects, they shut down all the affordable housing because they didn't want those people to come back from Texas and the other states they'd gone to. And they moved in gentrification. I mean, it sounds like that might be part of the plan. By accident, all of this is a coincidence, as you say.
I also want to point out here too, and again, I think it's important for us, all of us, do Dissidence, RBN, and HardLens, to reach out to people maybe who live in Hawaii, because there's one thing that is also underreported even before these fires happen is that there's been a massive amount of homelessness and economic hardship towards the native Hawaiians. In fact, as it stands, and please correct me if I'm wrong on this, because I remember there was a report being done on this, but Native Hawaiians are not given the same rights or acknowledgement as Native Americans in the mainland. Like, they don't have those same rights, or they're still fighting for acknowledgement after years of decades of abuse, harassment, and extermination, and so much more. I mean, gentlemen, do you want to chime in on that?
Yeah, anyone want to chime in real quick?
I don't.
No,
I
go
don't
ahead.
know
Go
about
ahead
that
with
till
the
it
rest.
happened.
Yeah, because again, hold on. I'm actually seeing the live stream chat. Somebody's saying Hawaii does have the highest rate of homelessness. So
The
I'll go ahead.
highest in the country?
Let's check this out. Hawaii.
Because I never heard that. I mean, it is definitely, it's one of those places like Alaska we don't pay a lot of attention to. There's not a lot of real reporting on what goes on within that state.
I mean, it would make sense why Hawaii would have high homeless. Just the same reason why Southern California, you go to where the weather is. If you have to live outside all the time, you're gonna go where it rains the least, and it has the least amount of snow. So that's why we have it here. And it would make sense if that's the case.
I want to add
it would
in
make
something
sense.
right here. I just got 2 links from a fan who just sent this to me. The price of housing in Hawaii is a large factor in why the homeless population is swelling.
Well, yeah, it's very expensive.
Hawaii's housing costs are extremely high, and average incomes fail to meet the criteria for rentals. From 2022, the unsheltered numbers did fall from 15. Well, obviously this is from 2022, so this is dated information. In downtown and Kalihi, from 622 to 530, and 8% in East Honolulu and Waikiki. All right, so there is obviously the fact of homelessness is a factor because of the high price of the housing. Hey,
Right.
Oprah, Lady Gaga, well done. You're causing more harm than good.
Right, they're running up the prices. Go ahead, Nick. With the rest of the story, if you had any.
Yeah, I wanna actually I think that's it on the Maui story. I want to show you guys this because there's a lot of people who believe, uh, like Marianne Wilson, for example, that we funded Ukraine from the kindness of our heart, and you had Mitch McConnell that said the quiet part out loud, which was extremely interesting. Where Mitch McConnell on Wednesday called for continued support for Ukraine in an event in Louisville, Kentucky. Now you're gonna have this debate that's gonna continue to get interesting as this campaign season heats up because you have the Mike Pence, Mitch McConnell, neocon right that's gonna have to have this public debate with the right, like Donald Trump uh, and Marjorie Taylor Greene and a few others are speaking out on this. But listen to what Mitch says here, because this is one of the moments when they got caught being too comfortable among their class. So they said the quiet part out loud. And he said, people think increasingly it appears that we shouldn't be doing this. Well, let me start by saying we haven't lost a single American in this war. So this is Mitch McConnell saying, yeah, man, these Ukrainians are dying for us. Isn't that amazing?
Or Lindsey Graham said, this is the best money we've ever spent. We're killing Russians.
So this is what Bernie Sanders and Marianne Williamson think. They think that we're doing this for a humanitarian reason, that we actually care about the Ukrainian people. Mitch McConnell continues, most of the money that we spend related to Ukraine is actually spent in the United States, replenishing weapons, more modern weapons. So it's actually employing people here and improving our own military for what lie ahead. Now, look back at what he said at the beginning, how he said we haven't lost a single American. So he is extremely excited and happy that the money that we send to Ukraine is essentially being money laundered here to prop up our military industrial complex without the cost of our soldiers. So this is the politician straight up admitting that we don't want peace in Russia and Ukraine. We blocking peace proposals in order to fund the military industrial complex more. And this is something that the NATO left and Bernie Sanders and the progressives are directly responsible for. Anyway, that's pretty much almost like a mini segment on this. So anyone want to chime in on this? This is the politician saying the quiet part out loud. And I'll pass to you, CJ, after this. Anything else you guys want to add to this? Or we move on?
Bring something in we usually do on our show. Chris Hedges, America the Farewell Tour, book recommendation. He gets very much into that in that book, how that's the last manufacturing left in America. Ammunition, missiles, military manufacturing, because a lot of that, they're not allowed to manufacture it overseas for security reasons. So it's really the last manufacturing jobs in the country. So a big part of the motivation of keeping this enormous military budget is to keep some vestige of manufacturing employment left.
Yeah, the only other thing I'd add to that is, if and when, Trump wins the nomination going into the general election, it's just going to be very interesting to see how the Republican Party handles that, because he's going to be giving a message at the top of the ticket that flies in the face of a lot of what the party bosses want to hear from the standard bearer of their party. The Democrats aren't going to have that problem, obviously, but the Republicans might very well.